One of North America's toughest half-mile ovals is located just outside of Calgary. It's Race City Speedway. Trevor Siebert continued his unbeaten streak here in round 3. And now, Trevor has returned to face his toughest test in round 4. Frank Allers, 4-time champion, focused on the 92 championship. Can anyone stop Siebert? The veteran Allers has come to Calgary to answer that question. Welcome to the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN.
Welcome to Race City Speedway in Calgary. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, today is cold temperatures, and we don't know about the weather forecast for this race. Hello, I'm Pierre Houd. So weather may be a factor today in the upcoming event on this short oval track. And to know more about that, here are Jim Paulson and Pat Gonzalez.
Welcome to round number 7 in our coverage of the 1992 Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. We're back in the Western Series at a very cold Race City Speedway in Calgary. And Jim, this is very unusual weather.
Pat, it's literally threatening snow on us right now. And of course, the temperatures have been hovering just above that 0 mark overnight. It's been a cool weekend, but you know what? The drivers are happy. They're almost ecstatic about this one because it means the tires should run a little better in the cool. The engine should certainly perform a little better in the cooler conditions, and it'll be a little more comfortable in the cockpit for them today.
Well, Trevor Siebert continued his unbeaten string here at Calgary's Race City Speedway when he won the last event. Although he has not run all of the series events this year, he is a defending champion, and he's back to do battle again with all of the regulars.
It's been a great story with Trevor here, hasn't it? He has never, ever lost a race on the oval here at Calgary. There's no way young Trevor Siebert, the defending champion, wants to see that string broken today.
Well, it's the championship points battle that concerns Frank Allers, Wade Lee, and Kevin Dowler. With the series winding down, a win here at Calgary would be very significant for any of those drivers.
I wonder if we aren't a little surprised. Frank Allers has really come back with a vengeance this year. He is on top in the championship points, but you make a very good point there, Pat, in that Wade Lee is hovering not too far back. Kevin Dowler is still a threat, but they've got to gain points here today.
Well, they're ready to do battle at Calgary's Race City Speedway, so now let's take a look at the starting grid.
We start with number 22, Ron FARYNA, in the black 92 Firebird out of Coquitlam, BC, ready for the oval one more time.
Number 43, Duncan Anderson of Langley, British Columbia, is back racing his Anderson Engineering Camaro.
And the Calgary native in the 02 Power Up Lubricants Camaro, Mike DEINING, ready to start.
Last season's Western Rookie of the Year starts his Three Hills Chevrolet Camaro.
Ken Leslie starts with a good qualifying position. He took time to join the Eastern competitors at Cayuga in the last event.
In his Molly Black Gold number 3 Camaro starts veteran Ken Staples from LAPCEVICH, Alberta.
Clearly Canadian and clearly fast, the number 55 Firebird of Murray Craig, who's back this year.
Cameron Hope in his number 19 Camaro also has qualified well and hopes for a top 5 finish here today.
Eastern regular Peter Cohen, the only man to beat Kenny Wilden in 92, makes a rare Western appearance in Calgary off a win at 12 of year.
Number 28, Marcus MIHALCHEON in his steel craft doors Firebird has qualified well, and the young driver is hoping to impress here at Calgary.
Rick Payne is one of the fastest Western drivers on the oval. He'll have to move up, though, to catch Allers and Siebert today.
Joe LAPCEVICH Jr. saw his younger brother Jeff run well on the Eastern Oval at Cayuga, finishing second. Joe will try to make the podium here in Calgary.
Ian McIntosh had a strong qualifying result on the oval. He'll challenge for a top 10 spot today as well for PPG.
Carl HARR in the Apple Computers Firebird will be looking for another strong performance on the oval.
Here's the man they call Mr. Perfect. Eastern driver Kenny Wilden has only one loss in 6 Eastern races, won the Eastern Oval at Cayuga. Kenny looking for a Western victory today.
Number 6, Todd NICHOL had a good qualifying run and ran very well here last race. He may surprise some folks.
Winning his first Western Championship is Kevin Dowler in his Mohawk Slick 50 Fountain Tire entry, our Mohawk fastest qualifier.
I'm not concerned about anyone right now. It's just fate will kind of take into play here. It seems like it always does in this series. You know, the last 3 years I've finished second. There are no more seconds. It's time to win.
Trevor Siebert has done it all in a Camaro, undefeated on the Race City Oval.
You know, I seem to get along with everybody here. You know, but after last race and even the races prior to that, yeah, I did have a lot of people phoning me up and, you know, wondering about setup and stuff like that. And I certainly try and help them as much as I can. You're never gonna, I don't think any race car driver is ever gonna give away 100% of his secrets if he has any, but I try and help him out as much as possible because I like to see the field be competitive.
Another Calgary native and another driver looking for this Western Championship is Wade Lee.
I don't mind it. I rather enjoy it. I love the oval. Close racing makes it that much more fun. That's part of the fun of racing on the oval. You lose maybe just a small bit of that on the road course. You know, it's a little tougher to get beside a guy. There's more or less, you know, one line. So I like the close racing.
Tony Morris, teammate of points leader Frank Allers, will look to help Frank hold off that quick third row.
Well, I think we've been pretty good teammates. I'll help Frank as best I can, and I mean, seriously, it's for Motormaster that's got to win it. If I have to put him off or hurt him in any way to win it, I'm not interested. I'm past that stage. But I'd really like to win a race. I think that's very important for myself and Motormaster. It's been a lean season for wins. If we win the championship, awesome, but I'd really like to see us win a race as well.
Young driver surprised some with a qualifying position good enough for the front row is Bill Drossos.
First row on the inside would be the ideal place to start. We're on the outside, and the thing we got to try and avoid is a freight train coming underneath us. We got to get down into the groove and get moving.
The four-time champion and 1992 Western points leader Frank Allers will sit on the pole and wants a victory.
Well, I've had 3 second places here, and you know, if you're fighting for the lead, you're less likely to have an accident than you are in the back anyway. So I'll probably try to win the thing. You know, like I say, I've had 3 seconds, so I'd like to really win one here.
There's Frank. Rest of the drivers as well preparing for this crucial event. It's round 4 for the Western Championship. 3 of them can grab this title today, and it's going to be an interesting run, I think, Pat.
And of course, Jim, the question is, can anybody end the winning streak of Trevor Siebert on this Calgary Oval?
The Players Limited GM Motorsports Series is brought to you by GM Motorsports and Players Limited. Welcome back to the Players Limited GM Motorsport Western Division. It's round 4 on TSN from Race City Speedway in Calgary. Pat, they're trying to get a little heat into these tires. It's a cool late afternoon.
Well, very cool conditions, Jim. I'm sure these drivers expected a lot warmer conditions, but trying to get as much heat into those Goodyear tires as they can.
Let's have a look at these Western points as they stand. Frank Allers on top at 312. Then it's Wade Lee, 274. Kevin Dowler, 267. They all have a chance at this championship here today. Morris a little further back at 251, but for his teammate Frank Allers, let's face it, Tony Morris could be a factor. Very close points race, and of course we could have a shuffling in those second, third, and fourth place points. Allers would virtually have to have a DNF in this one to lose his points lead as we see the field working their way around the racetrack. Well, let's take a look at this half-mile Race City Oval, and for the metric-minded, 0.8 of a kilometer. Here's Frank Allers off of turn 4 as he comes to the start-finish line. Drivers trying to take as much momentum aggressively into turn 1, using the banking to slow the race car. Allers running a little bit wide during the race. The cars will be right down at the bottom of the racetrack, protecting that inside racing line. Left foot braking through turns 3 and then accelerating hard off of turn 4 to come back to the start-finish line. And there is the man who sits up there on the front row, Frank Allers, the points leader. And of course, he is going to be trying to beat Trevor Siebert on this Race City Oval, Jim, for the very first time. Now, Bill Drossos has to keep in mind he's not allowed to stay up there ahead of our pole sitter, but I think Frank will make his move when he feels that flag is going to make an appearance. A reminder, too, Pat, that the good Ben Doctor and his fine crew here at Race City have laid down some new concrete in all 4 corners, so this is going to be wild as the Nope, they don't get a green flag yet. Okay.
No green flag. Third row, Kevin Dowler in that 35 Mohawk Camaro was the driver who had pulled out of line, so they do not get the green flag. They'll make their way back around one more time. As you said, Jim, a lot of new pavement put down on the insides of turns 1 and 2 and again in 3 and 4. And it looks as though that maybe has changed the racetrack just a little bit. During round number 2 here, we saw Trevor Siebert able to run both the high and the low line. And again now, as the cars once again get up to speed, we'll be looking for the green to get this one underway. And we are racing at Race City Speedway in Calgary. Frank Allers goes to the front. Tony Morris down to the low side of the racetrack. He'll go underneath of Bill Drosos to take over that second place position. Battle in behind of the front running 3. We've got a war going on for 4th, Wade Lee. And on the inside, it is Trevor Siebert right up alongside of Kevin Dowler. Your leader, Allers, up across the start-finish line. Second place driver is his teammate, Tony Morris. Then Drosos in that red 27 car. Wade Lee holds on to 4th. And we still have that side-by-side battle for 5th between the white 33 car of Trevor Siebert and up to the high side goes the 35 Mohawk Camaro of Kevin Dowler. Those two drivers, friends off of the racetrack, battling door handle to door handle as now we go on board with Trevor Siebert. Oh, and there goes Wade Lee. He put a couple of wheels off, got a little bit sideways, and Siebert will pull right up behind Wade Lee as he holds onto that 4th place position.
You know, Wade Lee was really looking to grab a good start here. The fact is, the car bobbled all over the place, Pat. I would say that Wade Lee is running very loose. I don't think he's got the right setup here, at least for the beginning of this event. And again, he does not look totally in control with Siebert right on his tail. He's bobbling around a little too much there.
Well, he just cannot really get that car to work, either low down. Oh, there you see it again, that car oversteering quite a bit, and here comes Siebert on the inside. Trevor Siebert will take over that 4th place position, and Wade Lee trying to hold on to the high side, but he won't be able to make that move work, and now he'll come under pressure from 35, Kevin Dowler. But Trevor Siebert taking advantage of the handling problems, very evident here with that number 79 car of Wade Lee. But Lee, for the moment, hangs on to the 5th place position. Dowler 35 runs in 6th. And in fact, this is a great little 3-way fight involving Siebert in that white 33 car, along with 79 Wade Lee and number 35 Kevin Dowler.
Well, the fact is Frank Allers has run away with it here. His teammate Tony Morris, the Motormaster team, are well out in front, but still very much in the fight for the championship points. We have got Wade Lee, of course, number 79, right on him, Kevin Dowler. So got to keep a close eye on these two. For Trevor Siebert, not quite as important, except the fact that he's never lost on this oval, Pat. So you know Trevor wants another win today.
Well, he certainly does, and right now he has put the pressure on Bill Drosos, number 27, who started here on the front row. But Drosos, who was apparently caught napping on the start when Tony Morris was able to get around him for second, as the Motormaster teammates run 1, 2, and there goes Siebert down to the inside of Drosos, looking for the pass up into 3rd, but Drosos will shut the door and hang on to that 3rd place position. So this 3-way fight has now caught Bill Drosos in that red 27 Camaro. Trevor Siebert all over the Drosos car, right in back of him Wade Lee, and then Kevin Dowler.
Well, that number 27 car, oh, here's Siebert now coming right up on Drosos. He's going to try him on the outside, perhaps. Nope. Bill cuts up again, right up to the wall. Where will Siebert go now? Look, he keeps the high line, Pat. He's going to hang in there high.
Well, Trevor Siebert's Camaro obviously working low down on the racetrack and up high as he pulls alongside of Drosos down the back chute, and he will take over that 4th place position. A tremendous pass there by Trevor Siebert to take over the 4th place spot. Now Drosos will be challenged by Wade Lee, 79 on the inside. Wade Lee right up alongside of Drosos, and he'll drop him 1 position further back, and now Dowler will move up to challenge. Drosos, 27, just loses 3 positions in the space of about 3 or 4 laps, and here comes Eastern driver Kenny Wilden. He'll also move around Bill Drosos to drop him well back. So Drosos going in the opposite direction that he would have liked to after starting up on the front row. So we've had a real scramble of positions in the top 6 or 7 spots.
Look at the black number 7. There's Carl Harr's black Apple computer Firebird having a go at that number 7 position. This cool weather, how does it help our racers? Here's Tony Morris with the driver's line.
Basically, colder weather makes the engine run a little bit leaner, so you get more horsepower in the motor. The tires run a lot better, they'll last longer. This is a 100-lap race, it's a long time. and obviously the driver. Once you're over 25 like I am, it's nice to have a nice cool race.
Well, no question the cooler weather has got to be helping them today. It certainly did in qualifying, Pat. Kevin Dowler blasting away the old record. In fact, Siebert broke his old record in qualifying as well. So maybe a combination of the cool, the new paving. These guys are getting a great run here in Calgary.
Well, Frank Allers has had a great run so far up across start-finish. He is running all by himself out in front, and he, in fact, is stretching out that lead behind Frank Allers. We've been having some tremendous racing going on because right now Trevor Siebert has caught Frank Allers' teammate Tony Morris. While Allers enjoys a commanding lead at this point, Morris will feel the pressure from Siebert, who has just been slicing his way through traffic after starting back in that third row. Now the question is there team strategy? How wide will Tony Morris make that number 88 Camaro and try to hold off 33 Trevor Siebert? Allers, of course, the points leader, and now we go on board with Trevor Siebert right on the rear bumper of Tony Morris. They almost touched as they headed out onto the short chute. And now here goes Siebert. He'll try it up to the outside as he takes a look around the high side on Tony Morris, and Morris must be feeling the pressure.
I tell you, Trevor Siebert seems to play wherever he wants on this track. Now he's got him. Takes Tony Morris on the inside. Actually, Tony, I thought, let him get by rather easily there, Pat. I thought there might be more of a dice from the teammate and holding up on Trevor Siebert, but they let Trevor through.
Well, there you can see the margin that Frank Allers has over this four-way fight that's going on for second. Trevor Siebert, 33 in that white Camaro, your new second-place driver. Then Tony Morris, who didn't put up much of a fight and try to hold off Siebert. And now Morris will have to contend with the other drivers who he is battling with for top points honors. And that, of course, $35 Dowler. And the man right behind him, 79 Wade Lee, as they already start to lap some of the slower traffic. Siebert, though, starting to pull away from Morris, Wade Lee, and then Dowler, 35, as they come back across start-finish.
Now, again, this is really where the action is. It is the fight for third. I think now that Trevor Siebert is by, we may see him begin to run away a little bit. We'll know within a lap or so, certainly, Pat, as to whether Tony Morris was holding up Trevor at all. I must say, though, putting a lap or two down here, this is not becoming the runaway for Siebert that we thought it might be. The trio here are holding on to Trevor pretty well.
Well, right now it does not appear that this group is closing on Frank Allers, who continues to run all by himself. There is Kevin Dowler, currently third in the point standings. In fact, with the exception of Siebert, the next three drivers there, Morris, Wade Lee, and then Kevin Dowler, separated by just 23 points in the Western Championship. So this race here at Calgary's Race City Speedway Oval will be very, very crucial in deciding the championship and perhaps some of those other top rankings. Siebert holding on to that second place position. There you see part of the crowd here at Race City all bundled up as the light snow starts to fall.
20 laps complete out of 100, and Frank Allers dominates. We'll be back. Welcome back to TSN's coverage of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series Western Division from Calgary's Race City Speedway. The man way out in front is Frank Allers. Here's the fight, Pat.
While Trevor Siebert leading the next group, there is the fifth place driver, Kevin Dowler, as they go through turn one. Siebert holding on to that second place position. Then it is Tony Morris in the black Motormaster Camaro, then Wade Lee, and then 35 in the Mohawk Slick 50 Camaro. That is Kevin Dowler. Those three drivers, Morris, Wade Lee, and Kevin Dowler, involved in a very close points fight in the Western Series. Trevor Siebert, of course, only his second event in the Players Limited GM Motorsport Western Series, and of course he is trying to maintain his unbeaten string on this half-mile oval. And right now, up ahead of him on the racetrack with about the entire length of this front straightaway is the race leader, Frank Allers. But right now, the battle for third place involving Tony Morris, along with 79 Wade Lee and 35 Kevin Dowler.
Field getting spread out a little bit as we head into Kronos. And this week on Kronos, let's look at the drivers in our Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. The purpose of the series has been to take the focus off the vehicles and place it on the driver's ability. This series has always been a driver's series. A series that places equally prepared Camaros and Firebirds in the hands of Canada's best drivers and Canada's future stars. This year has seen some new stars rise like Kenny Wilden, John Cadman Jr., and Canada's best drivers like Frank Allers and Trevor Siebert. And some future stars like young Shane Grossman.
One other surprise, I think, would be the performance of Jeff LAPCEVICH, who's really come on as a strong top 6 contender in the series. Jeff has always been a quality driver, but never really shown the ability to consistently perform at the front, and he's done that this year.
Jeff LAPCEVICH has impressed everyone with his increased speed and consistency in 1992, and so has Sean Grossman.
We always thought we'd get up there, and you know, we've had such bad luck at KEYIN in past years, and then to come off with a finish like that, it felt great. And you know, to finally crack the top 3 and to get up there is definitely a confidence booster.
Another surprise this season has been underdog Peter Cohen's defeat of Eastern Giant Kenny Wilden.
Hopefully it'll help me in the future as far as budget and as far as going into another series, or we're going to see what happens next year. But it was a good win, very good.
Richard Spernard, ranked among the world's best drivers, has respect for every driver involved in this series.
Everyone deserves to be applauded, and just to be part of that series, you need a lot of courage. You know, I think anyone races in this series in 1992 put a lot of things on the line, probably a lot of money on the line, and it's not an easy series, you know. You take a guy like Paul Mackey, for example, that came here with very little experience. Maybe he hasn't done as well as he should have done or as he wish he would have done, but in return he's here and he's learning every time, every race, and he will accomplish a lot by the end of the year. It's not easy. It's a series which has been here for quite a few years. The people up front are experienced, and you know, we are a lot quicker than we used to be, so it's hard for these new people to come in and join the group and be competitive.
So the mandate to create a series to benefit Canadian racing talent has been met again in 1992.
We started out to do a good job of running a professional level series that was based in the grassroots. And I think certainly we succeeded at doing that. We've graduated some drivers who demonstrated considerable skill and raceability and racecraft into Trans Am and Atlantic and places like that. And I think that's a tribute to the quality of competition and the quality of the equipment and what the drivers have learned.
Kronos, drivers in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. Pat, it was fun to look at David Embringham's little Pert Atlantic entry there, and of course the likes of Ron Fellows and so many other great names that have come out of this series.
And of course, Jim, the likes of Frank Allers, who continues to lead this event, and the man running in second, Trevor Siebert, are using this Players Limited GM Motorsports Series as a springboard to also compete in the Players Atlantic Series. And there is your race leader, number 12, Frank Allers, out of Coquitlam, British Columbia, the Motormaster Camaro. He's led from lap 1 and continues to hold a commanding lead as he is about to come up here to lap the 02 car of Michael DEINING.
Michael DEINING, one of the back markers. An interesting thing is beginning to develop now. Michael, I think, is trying to get out of the way. He doesn't want to go too high, of course, and lose his own control. He does want to let Allers by. Frank pokes that nose in again rather low here in the corner and, in fact, makes it a clean pass. But now traffic may become a factor here. And will it affect our front-running man, I wonder?
Well, cleanly around the 02 car of DEINING, and now Frank Allers, I would think, starting to think about the last event here on the oval at Race City Speedway, where Trevor Siebert took the win. Of course, Allers trying to open up as much of a cushion as he possibly can. We still have a long, long way to go. The conditions very cool. We've had a few snow flurries from time to time. And right now, Allers continues to hold that commanding lead. It's about the entire length of the front straightaway as we look a little bit further back in the pack. This is the battle going on for 7th, and for the moment the 27 car of Bill Drossel's holding on to 7th. There is Carl HARR in the number 7 Apple Computers Firebird as he runs in the 8th place spot.
Well, Pat, our TSN cameras have a look at this field, just looking all around the course here on this half-mile oval, and we have got fights happening everywhere. It's interesting, and the fans, despite the cool, we're keeping them warm today.
While we look at the 33 car of Trevor Siebert as he continues to contend with slower traffic. And of course, Frank Aller still holding that commanding lead as he pulls up alongside here of the 80 car of Doug LORRAINE, and he will put LORRAINE a lap down as we look at the leader. Frank Aller's holding on to that very, very big lead, and now Aller's coming up on Murray Craig in the clearly Canadian Firebird as he will put him a lap down, and now back to the battle for third between 88 Tony Morris and the 79 car of Wade Lee. Again, these two drivers very much in the Western points battle as they try to move around the 47 car of Ken Leslie. And now we go on board with Wade Lee as we're in the thick of that battle for third place. Up across start finish into turn one. Tony Morris running a little bit wide into that first turn. Wade Lee a little bit lower down on the racetrack as they work the back chute.
Wade Lee comes in deep into the corner, does not get the tires off though, Pat. Of course, Wade just lives down the road. He knows Race City Speedway. As we said, he looked very inconsistent off the start. Car did not look stable at all. And again, this traffic gets a little scary at times, Pat, watching our leaders fight their way through here.
Frank Aller's number 12 slicing in between Ken Staples and Rick Payne as he will put both of those drivers a lap down. But Aller's has had a marvelous run. And again, he came in here as the points leader, the four-time Western champion, but has not beaten Trevor Siebert on this half-mile oval. And right now, he's looking in pretty good shape as he continues to run out in front. And Aller's, when you might think he may be just a little bit conservative trying to get around some of these slower cars, in fact, he is driving very, very aggressively.
A fan who has not been a factor. In fact, we're just looking at him here. Right at the top of your screen is that Rick Payne equipment. But look at young Joe LAPCEVICH now, out of the East, racing the Western Series this year for Mr. Lube and, of course, Big Brothers. And young Joe has got his own dice happening a little further back, trying to tackle Marcus MIHALCHEON, the yellow car in front out of Edmonton, Alberta. But no, Joe cannot quite catch Marcus at this point. And here comes our race leader once more to put Joe LAPCEVICH down a lap.
Frank Aller's down to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see a little bit of dirt has been thrown up right on the inside of the racetrack. We've had a number of drivers put those inside wheels off of the pavement and throw some of the dirt up onto the racetrack right on the inside, but Aller's not having any kind of a problem. He is able to drive that car right down to the bottom. At times, he'll take it up a groove or two, but again, just carving his way around the slower traffic on the racetrack. Now we look at Michael DEINING and the number 3 car of Ken Staples. They're a long, long way back, having their own personal battle between these two drivers as they are about to be lapped by the 88 car of Tony Morris. And then you see right behind Morris is number 79 Wade Lee. So the third and fourth place cars trying to get around two of the lapped cars on the racetrack. And Lee diving in on the inside of the 80 car of Doug LORRAINE. Oh, there is 88 Morris. He taps the number 02 car of DEINING in the back. He runs into Ken Staples. Both cars spin, and Staples and DEINING have continued. But Tony Morris just moved Michael DEINING out of the way, and then I believe he got into it with Ken Staples. Here we go on board with Wade Lee. There you see the 88 car of Tony Morris as he taps DEINING in the back. DEINING goes sideways. He collects Ken Staples, and that's one way to get around a driver on the racetrack, Jim.
Again, another peek at what happens here, and fortunately, the front-running equipment manages to get by the incident very quickly. But boy, talk about Frank Aller's being aggressive. Tony Morris showing that in the oval today as well.
While aggressive, but perhaps a little bit impatient, the yellow caution flag is out, and that big lead that Frank Aller's had will be all for naught because the yellow caution flag here will close up the field, at least those cars running on the lead lap.
Frank Aller's going for that first victory on the oval here at Race City Speedway in Calgary. Not that happy, I'm sure, about the yellow in this situation. The young Joe LAPCEVICH, by the way, has not let our race leader get away as we go to Infotech. And let's have a look at the spin. One of the results of a series with such equal equipment is close contact, and inevitably, the spin.
surprising. It happens quickly, and immediately what crosses your mind is, wow, I have to gain this position back, you know? So you don't even lose too much time thinking what happened. You just want to go there and not lose any time getting out of your hole, getting out of your incident, and try to gain as many positions as you can to hopefully go back to where you used to sit before it happens. But in this type of racing, the length of our race are very short, the grid is very tight, and if you go off track, I mean, you're not gonna do very well at the end, but your job is to do as well as you can at that point, so you try to go there and go as fast as you can and make some position back, but you know, it's certainly something you don't want to do.
We keep stressing the strength and durability of these Camaros and Firebirds and the level of competition they provide. Accidents are only minor setbacks in a series that constantly teaches drivers the skills of racing. The spin, and we're back with the two cars involved in the latest spin that brought out the yellow. The 0-2 power-ups, DEINING, and number 3, Ken Staples, who, by the way, Kenny was best from the West in last year's shootout, Pat, but not having great luck on the oval today.
Well, Jim, this is certainly not what Frank Allers needed. He had built up quite a lead. Trevor Siebert sitting there in that second place position, of course, with the yellow caution flag here now. One of the officials motioning to one of the drivers there. Not sure if that's DEINING or Staples, who've been going at it pretty good before. Tony Morris got into the back of Michael DEINING. That pushed him up into Ken Staples and really started the incident that has brought out this yellow caution flag, or first here, after a number of laps under the green. There you can see the damage to the left side of Michael DEINING's car as the field will start to form up here momentarily. But Frank Allers with that commanding lead, it is all for naught. And he's going to try to have to do it all over again once we go back to green.
Well, DEINING and Staples keep jockeying back and forth with each other. Staples in the number 3, DEINING 0-2. Field come through again, and still young Joe LAPCEVICH, a lap or so back of our race leader. But once Frank Allers got by young Joe, I think Joe's trying to hang on and learn some lessons about oval racing here today, and maybe he has been picking up some tips, Pat.
Well, the yellow caution flag, of course, will tighten up our entire field. But again, you've got the lapped cars sitting in between those drivers that are, in fact, running on the lead lap. So it is not a case where Siebert is going to be sitting right on the rear bumper of Frank Allers. There you see some lapped cars in between the leader Allers and Trevor Siebert as we're about to go back to green here at Race City Speedway. There's Frank Allers off of turn 4. The green flag flies. We're back racing. Siebert immediately looks down to the inside of Rick Payne. He'll move up to 3rd on the racetrack, but still running 2nd overall. They've got the lap car of Joe LAPCEVICH sitting in between the leader Frank Allers and that white 33 Camaro of Trevor Siebert. So what was a lead that amounted to really the entire length of that front straightaway has now been chopped down to perhaps 12 to 15 car lengths as Allers continues to lead as they work off of turn 2 and down the back chute. Siebert will now try to get around that yellow 34 Mr. Lube car of Joe LAPCEVICH, and he'll do that easily going through on the inside, but it is still Allers, your race leader. Siebert running in the 2nd place spot.
Frank Allers got a marvelous jump again on that restart, Pat. He looks so aggressive on the oval. I don't think we've seen this form of Allers race as yet this season. He is determined to hang on to this, but now, I think with the traffic and with the yellow, there's no question that Siebert has gained a few car lengths, and now we find Frank Allers certainly within striking distance of the Barry Ihaxi car, the Sinja beer entry that Trevor Siebert is piloting here today.
Well, Siebert appears to be closing up on Frank Allers for the moment. Allers has a clear racetrack ahead of him as he comes off of turn 4. There you can see the margin, 7, maybe 8 car lengths between these two Camaros. Frank Allers, of course, finished 2nd here to Trevor Siebert the last time they ran on the oval. And right now the position switched around. And Allers trying to hold onto that lead. Siebert continues to close as they work off of turn 4 and back to the start-finish line.
I would think with a nice clear track ahead of him, we'll find Frank Allers can hit that about 180K speed. And here comes Rick Payne, number 75, has a go at Tony Morris. And looks like Rick is going to fight it. No, Tony will not give it up easily.
Well, Rick Payne now will go a lap down to Tony Morris as Morris comes off of turn 4. Right behind that 88 car of Tony Morris is Wade Lee, who continues to run in the 4th place position. We look at the lead battle, about a car length separating Frank Allers and Trevor Siebert as they run into turn 3. Siebert right down to the bottom of the racetrack as Allers runs a little bit higher line up across start finish. And again, Siebert not afraid to take that outside line as he goes outside right down to the bottom of the racetrack and closes right up on Allers as they work the back chute. The question here is how much longer can Allers hold off Trevor Siebert? He was not able to do it during round number 2 here on the oval as they work back into turn 1. And again, just a car length separating these two talented drivers. Both, of course, as we said earlier, not only running in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series Western Division in the Camaros, but also campaigning Atlantic cars in the Players Atlantic Series in 1992. So these two drivers have got at it in closed wheels as well as open wheel racing cars this year. And again, we're seeing the different lines in turns 1 and 2 and again in 3 and 4. Allers appears to run a little bit higher line. Siebert right down to the bottom of the racetrack.
45 laps are complete out of 100 at Race City Speedway in Calgary. Frank Allers still leads, and we'll be back. Welcome back to the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN. It's round 4 in the Western Division. We're watching the reigning series champion in the West battling for the lead with the man who's dominated this championship in the past. The two champs out front here, Pat.
Into turn number 1, Frank Allers has appeared to be a little bit faster through turns 1 and 2. There you see he gets the good drive coming off at turn 2, heading down the back chute, opens it up to 2, maybe 3 car lengths, but then it is Trevor Siebert who carries tremendous speed through turns 3 and 4 and closes it back up to just a car length as they hit start finish. And this has been repeating lap after lap. Allers a little bit better off of turn 2 as he pulls away slightly on the back chute, but then Siebert able to gather that back up as they run through turns 3 and 4. But again, the same story as we had here during round 2, where it was Siebert and Allers who went at it, and the same story here today. Frank Allers leading this time, though. Trevor Siebert running in the 2nd place spot.
I don't think Frank Allers will be shaken up easily. We're looking at a grizzled veteran. He started racing back in 1971. He's not going to give this up easy. Tony Morris still running a good 3rd. The fight is here in 4th place, Pat.
Right now, Wade Lee just 7 points ahead of Kevin Dowler in the battle for the Western Championship. Wade Lee currently in 2nd place in the points, Dowler 3rd, and on the racetrack, these two drivers continue to go at it for 4th place. They will move around Rick Payne. There's Dowler in the 35 Mohawk Slick 50 Camaro. He's about maybe 8-9 car lengths back of Wade Lee. They were running much closer together. Tony Morris establishing himself in that 3rd place position, Lee in 4th. Dowler in the 5th place position, and Dowler appears to be fighting the handling on that race car just a little bit as he has dropped a few car lengths further back of Wade Lee.
This week on Profile, we look at the 2-car team of Carl Harr and Todd NICHOL. The Players Limited GM Motorsports Series appeals to drivers who enjoy racing, working with cars and each other to achieve winning results.
The whole team involvement is from A to Z as far as a semi-pro team would be concerned, comparing it to, say, a pro team that races 12 months out of the year. We've got things to look after that the drivers will look after, from getting the cars ready before the races. Our team, they come out on the weekend and help us, but the cars got to be ready when they get here. So that's something that usually the drivers will look after between races.
Their friends, their neighbors, and their teammates, Carl Harr and Todd NICHOL, involved in every aspect of their team.
Carl and I have been friends for a good many years. We started off Corvette racing together. We progressed from that into the Players GM series. We saw a couple of news articles about it just prior to the series getting started. We got together, checked it out, and decided we'd both get into it. Carl got into it for a year prior to me, back in 1987. I got into it in 1988, and we've been carrying on ever since.
Each driver has their own motivation for racing. For Carl, racing is as much about family as it is about winning.
My personal goal is I've always liked racing. My son is into go-karts now. I go out, when I'm not racing here, I'm out with him working on his driving. He's 10 years old. When I'm 55 and maybe not driving behind a wheel anymore, I'd like to be out behind him, and I think being around us helps him. So that's my personal goal. I think everybody on the team has their own individual goal, though. For most of us, it's away from the office. It lets you blow off a little bit of steam. Someplace it's safe to do so, and just generally have a good time and some camaraderie with the whole thing.
I think every driver here gets an awful lot of satisfaction out of just the sheer competition of it. There's no doubt that it is the single most competitive series in North America. On a personal level, I get a lot of satisfaction of being out on the weekend with the guys. We all enjoy working on the cars an awful lot. Carl and I enjoy being competitors against each other on the racetrack, but yet friends off the racetrack. And it's just a real enjoyable game for us.
Well, our final question might be, what makes these good friends, Carl HARR and Todd NICHOL, such perfect teammates?
I think the biggest thing is that we can use each other as a benchmark. We're both pretty close to the same caliber of drivers, and we can run usually within hundreds of seconds of each other on the racetrack, and I think it poses an advantage for both of us having some sort of a benchmark to go up against.
Back with the race action in the oval at Calgary. These are not teammates out front now, Pat. It's Frank Allers, the Motormaster team, leading the loner.
Frank Allers by just a car length over Trevor Siebert as they run down the back chute and into turn 3. Here's where Siebert has been the faster driver right down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll pull right up on Allers as they come back across start-finish. And again, just about a car length of daylight separating the two through turns 1 and 2. Allers down to the bottom of the racetrack. Siebert trying a little higher line through the first and second turns, and then back into 3. They'll close it back up once again. These two drivers running just inches apart around the racetrack, and strictly a 2-driver race for the win. Allers a little bit high. There goes Siebert down to the inside, looking to pull up alongside of that black Motormaster Camaro, but he can't do it as Allers will hold him off, and now they come up on traffic. The 43 car of Duncan Anderson, the Anderson Engineering Camaro, will go a lap down as Allers makes the pass into turn 1 alongside of the 19 Music Express Camaro of Cameron Hope. He will drop a lap down to the 2 cars, still running just a couple of car lengths apart. And now they will lap the 22 car of Ron FARYNA in that gold key Pontiac Firebird. So the leader, Allers, and the second place driver, Siebert, just carving their way through traffic as they continue to run 1-2, but I think Allers getting the better of that run around the back markers because he has stretched it out now to about 5 car lengths. Siebert not as quick to get around the likes of Anderson, FARYNA, and Cameron Hope.
In fact, one more pass, and they do it neatly on number 47, which is
Ken Leslie in the Fabricant Camaro will go a lap down as well. We look a little bit further back, the number 3 car of Ken Stables, the 02. That is the power-up Camaro of Michael Deining. They've been having a war literally between those 2 drivers. The left side of Deining's car showing the damage.
Today, we look at the contributions of Goodyear Canada to the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series.
Our relationship with General Motors goes back many, many years. We're a major supplier to General Motors on the automobiles that they produce for the Canadian public. So we thought that it was only fitting and right that, in fact, that we were a major sponsor and a support to them in their racing effort.
These Camaros and Firebirds use production radials as prepared by Competition Tire Canada.
For many years, we've been involved in the motorsport because we know that the important thing is to bring the very best product to the motoring public. Through racing, we're able to test our products, we're able to develop our products, knowing that that will keep us #1 in the tire industry in Canada.
It is a tribute to Goodyear technology that these vehicles can run entire events on the same tires, and that flat tires or tire problems are almost unheard of.
The support that we give certainly rounds out our relationship with General Motors. And at the same time, it gives us the opportunity to show the motoring public the kind of performance that street tires actually get on a racing car.
Now back to the Goodyear Eagle GTs at work on the big oval at Calgary, and a good dice continuing here, Pat.
Well, there you see the result of an earlier incident involving Ken Staples and Michael Deining as they continue to go at it across start finish and into turn one. Staples for the moment holding off Michael Deining in that power-up Camaro, but these two drivers have been running just a few car lengths apart throughout this race. And of course, as we said earlier, we're involved in that incident with Tony Morris.
50 laps complete on the oval at Calgary, and the Goodyear mid-race leader is Frank Allers. He wins the 4 Goodyear Eagle GT tires, and can he maintain this to the end?
Well, that race still goes on between Ken Staples in the number 3 car as we look at our rundown through the entire field. Peter Cohen, who won our Trois Rivières event, running well back at the moment, so some of the Eastern drivers not faring all that well. There we see Michael Deining, who continues to go at it with the number 3 car of Ken Staples, and some of the other drivers, as now we look at the leader, Frank Allers, as he will put a lap on the number 24 car of Ian McIntosh. And now Trevor Siebert also moving around McIntosh and pulls in right behind the 12 car of Frank Allers. Now we look at the new 5th place driver, number 17, Kenny Wilden, in that red Pringle Slick 50 Camaro, has taken over 5th. Right behind is Kevin Dowler in the 35 Mohawk Camaro. Dowler having a disappointing run after being our Mohawk fastest qualifier, but just has not been able to match that speed in the race. Dowler and the 75 car there of Rick Payne having a pretty good run at each other, but for the moment Dowler holds on to that 6th place position, and if he was to finish 6th, that would not really improve on his current points position. He's currently sitting 3rd in the Western point standings. He continues to fight with the 75 car of Rick Payne, and now Payne will move around the Dowler cars. They go through turns 1 and 2.
In fact, Ken Staples is about to make it by, and Deining now makes a move on Staples. Power up, moves to the inside, gets by the...
sideways.
No, too much
Deining
so.
Sideways as he drifted up the banking after going inside of Ken Staples. And now we look back to the leaders. Allers in the black number 12 Motormaster Camaro, followed by the 33 of Trevor Siebert. And there is 02 Michael Deining, who again involved with that incident with Ken Staples, and that has brought out yet another yellow caution flag situation. The field will close right up, but again it is Staples and Deining who bring out yet another caution flag here at Calgary.
Almost got the feeling that Deining was trying to come back around to maybe come in to check with his pit crew, but that would not be wise in any of these Players Limited GM events, especially on the oval pad. So we're beyond the halfway point. Frank Allers, still the race leader. Trevor Siebert is right on him. We'll be right back. Welcome back to a very cold Calgary, Alberta, and TSN's coverage of the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series. Here are the leaders.
Frank Allers as the green flag flies again, back out in front, but look at 33. Oh, and a driver into the wall. That's 43, Duncan Anderson. And now as we look back towards the corner, we see Anderson in contact, I believe, yes, it is with Kenny Wilden. He tries to correct the spin and goes right up into the wall. There's Duncan Anderson. He appears to be okay after slamming the wall hard, just holding his left shoulder, so he may have banged it a little bit in that collision with the wall.
Oh, the snow is picking up. Unbelievable here in Calgary. You'll want to join us next week on the street course for the Molson Indy in Vancouver. Should be a little warmer for our 8th event on TSN.
Well, Jim, we're looking forward to leaving the winter coats behind here in Calgary as we look at the Players' Cup cars of the ASA Series. They, of course, will run later this weekend here at Calgary as the checkered flag is now being displayed at the flagger stand. This race will become official. We do not reach the 100-lap scheduled limit, and Frank Allers, under a caution flag, will take the checkered flag for the victory and end the winning streak here on the Calgary Oval of Trevor Siebert.
Frank Allers will take this victory gladly, his first ever on this oval in Calgary. Trevor Siebert second. Here's the rest of our top 10. Motormaster teammates are beaming, finishing first and third. Duncan looks okay.
Got bumped a little and then went into the wall. Oh yeah, I got 3 second-place finishes here, and I thought this may be the last time in the GM cars we'll be able to do this here. So that was an important one. Whatever, snow or crashes or whatever, I'll take it.
What a wild finish at Race City Speedway, Calgary. First time ever in this series. We've been snowed out. Certainly in the Players Limited GM Motorsports Series, we've never finished under a yellow before either, Pat.
Well, Jim, Frank Allers ends Trevor Siebert's winning streak here on the oval, but he did get a little bit of help from the weatherman today.
So nice to see Frank Allers and that big smile in Calgary. The Players Limited GM Motorsports Series on TSN. Brought to you by GM Motorsports and Players Limited.